Lady C fans rejoice. I am Chris with the Joshi Wrestling Recap for Stardom March 5th, 2022, available on Stardom World. Stardom put on a nice show, filled mostly with faction versus faction multi-women tag matches, but the biggest thing of note was at the end of the main event. The next Artist of Stardom Trios challengers were set. This was a multi-camera show with no commentary. We opened with a singles match between Hanan and Saki Kashima. Before the match started in earnest, Hanan said she didn't like the influence Saki has over her sister Rina in Orotai. Then Hanan attacked with a dropkick and some forearms. Rina validated Hanan's concerns when she dragged Hanan out of the ring and started beating her up while the ref was distracted. This action by Rina gave Saki the advantage for a large portion of the match. Saki dominated Hanan for a while before a well-timed judo hip toss by Hanan gave her some hope. Hanan then started targeting Saki Kashima's arm, but it wasn't for long. A palm strike by Saki gained her the advantage again. Hanan tried a surprise codebreaker on Saki, but it was reversed into a Kishikaise pin which Hanan couldn't get out of, and Saki Kashima wins. The second match was another singles match, this time between Momo Kogo and Natsupoi. Natsupoi, since she got back after a bit of time off to do a stage play, has been on another level. It feels like she's trying to steal the show with every match she is in, even if it is against a newer wrestler like Momo Kogo. Momo Kogo had a plan to start the match. She dropped Natsupoi's guard by doing the poi pose, then offering to shake hands. When Natsupoi reached out to shake hands, Momo rolled her up, but Natsupoi was able to escape. After some forearms by Momo and a dropkick by Natsupoi, they had a high-speed section, each dodging each other's moves, lots of running and some arm drags, and after a missed 619 by Momo, Natsupoi gained control. Natsupoi proceeded to lead Momo through the match, giving a surprise amount. There was a high flying and agility on display, and after Momo Kogo got a near fall with a pinning counter, Natsupoi decided to end it. Natsupoi hit a neat mule kick that was followed by a swinging net breaker and the Ferial gift for the pinfall victory. I just have a feeling that something big is going to happen with Natsupoi soon. That is why she's been wrestling so hard since her return. It doesn't matter if it's a multi-women's tag match or a match with a new roster member, she gives it her all. The next match was a faction versus faction match. For Cosmic Angels, we had Tam Nakano, Unaga Siaka, Mina Shirakawa, and Waka Tsukiyama. Donald Del Mondo was represented by Julia, Himeka, Thekla, and Mei Sakurai. To be honest, I was expecting more out of this match considering who was in it. The start of the match was a tease of fireworks but didn't go off. Tam Nakano and Mei Sakurai started. After Tam's comments about never forgiving Mei for leaving Cosmic Angels, the match started pretty conventionally with trading holds and locks before both tagged out. Julia and Waka Tsukiyama came in. This is the start of Waka getting beat up a lot by Donald Del Mondo. That seemed to be the story of the match, Donald Del Mondo dominating Waka. Tam, Mina, and Unagi did come into the match in sections, but Waka was in for the majority. Waka Tsukiyama did pull out a new move though, a combo jumping clothesline followed by a draping DDT on Thekla. It wasn't perfect, but it was cool looking. After some help by Donald Del Mondo, Thekla was able to pin Waka with a Dokuguma death drop for the win. On a positive note for Waka Tsukiyama, her dancing is getting better. The fourth match on the card was our second faction versus faction match, this time between Stars and Donald Del Mondo. For Stars we had Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki, and Kaguma. Donald Del Mondo was Shuri, Maika, and Mirai. This was a good and hard-hitting match. This match had a lot of tags and way too many moves to break down, but it felt like the match was broken up into three fights that came in and out. Mirai versus Suzuki, Maika versus Kaguma, and Miyu Iwatani versus Shuri. That last one is the most important. Miyu Iwatani has a red belt title match on the night 2 of the Ryogoku Hall shows this month, and will take on the winner between Julia and Shuri on night 1. Miyu and Shuri started the match, but it didn't last too long before both tagged out. In the middle of the match, it was a different story. Both Mayu Iwatani and Shuri started trading stiff forearms and kicks for an extended period of time. There was also traded suplexes and a double down after they both punched each other at the same time. This section of the match was great, and a nice preview of what may happen on the 27th. The match saw Mirai and Hazuki in the ring, while the announcer was counting down the time. It looked like Hazuki may win after she hit the Michinoku driver, but the pin was broken up, and time was called while Mirai had Hazuki on her shoulders. Both teams kept fighting for a bit after the bell, with a focus on Mayu and Shuri trading some shots. That brings us to the main event, the third faction versus faction matchup, this time between Odotai and Queen's Quest. For Odotai, we had Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Rina, and Nuruaka. Queen's Quest was Utomi Hayashishita, Saya Kamatani, Izumi, and Lady C. This match was good, and Izumi showed off her new long hair. Lady C started for her team, while Odotai saw Lady C as so beneath them nobody wanted to fight her. They had to rock, paper, scissors, and the loser Momo Watanabe started for Odotai. Lady C tried to be aggressive, but the gang tactics of Odotai overwhelmed Lady C. The beginning of the match was not good for Lady C. She was isolated for a long time, and at one point was thrown outside the ring and hit by Ruaka's box in the head. It would be a while before Lady C was able to tag in Saya Kamatani. Looking back at this match, it seemed like Queen's Quest had a plan. Each member of Queen's Quest would take over a portion of the match and soften up Odotai. First it was Saya Kamatani who took on Starlight Kid. Next it was Izumi who took on Ruaka. Third it was Utami who took on Momo Watanabe. That portion of the match was my favorite. And finally Lady C was tagged back in. The back portion of the match was Lady C versus Rina. Both of them had to fight off members of the opposing team coming in to help their teammates, but after Rina took a suplex chokeslam combo by Lady C and Utami, then the magic killer by Utami and Saya, and finally a chokeslam by Lady C, Rina was pinned for the 3 count. Lady C got the pin and won. After the match, Lady C, high off her victory, wanted to challenge for the Artist of Stardom Trios belts, with Saya Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita as her teammates. Mai Himipoi, the current Trios champs, came to the ring and accepted the challenge. This match will headline the Stardom show on the 13th. This was an enjoyable Stardom show. My favorite match was the match between Momo Kogo and Natsupoi, but the final 2 matches were also good. The next Stardom show is on the 6th, and looks to also mostly be faction versus faction. There are some big changes coming to Stardom this month, starting with the New Blood show on the 11th, which I am really looking forward to. This has been the Joshi Wrestling Recap for Stardom March 5th, 2022. Thanks for listening.